Okay, Jacob's log. Stardate 549, April 22nd, 2016. Um, okay, I just finished playing chapter 1. It was it was a point and click adventure, but they just didn't tell you. I'm sorry, I'm not really into uh cover-based shooting. Anyways, I'll start with the summary. Um, okay. So, this game actually has a prologue. The whole section where you're flying your helicopter and you're like, "Meow," and then the helicopter goes, "Meow," and they don't really. There's no real like threat. You're not. You know you're not gonna die. Anyways, when that's going on, um, a few interesting quotes I found were they asked the main character, whose name is Walker, by the way, if he was crazy a lot. I think Adam said, "Are you nuts?" and Lugo said, "Are you crazy?" Not in that order. But yeah, they said that. Um, and then we move on to chapter one, which starts off with a scene of Conrad. It's definitely Conrad. He has the jacket. Um, inside his apartment, and he is looking over all of the mess he's made. And it's important to note that his orders were to leave Dubai. He abandoned, deserted. Him and the entire 33rd are deserters. They should not be in Dubai. They were supposed to be in Afghanistan. Um, and that's why all of this mess um, came out. And I wanted to say that because it mirrors how Walker, he was just supposed to be doing recon. He was not supposed to be shooting people. This was supposed to be a like, oh hey, you guys are still alive or you're not? That's cool. I'm gonna go back and tell all my peeps. Although that's interesting because later we find out that the CIA is in here. So we already know that people are alive, unless this is like a giant government conspiracy. Or the other guy's not CIA. Who knows? Who knows? Um, I did find two intel. I don't know how many intel there are in the game in this chapter, but I found two. Um, the first one was Conrad's suicide note, which is kind of a big deal. I really wish I had found that the first time. And they actually have a number of the death toll. Oh, death toll too many. That's this game's version of the horror. The horror. It's repeated at the end of the game or whenever anything of significance happens. But yeah, there's I think it was like four soldiers and like a lot of civilians died in the way to get out of Dubai. Anyways, um, chapter one, the main characters: Walker, white guy in charge; Adams, black guy more serious; Lugo, white sniper dude. His name is Lugo. I looked it up. Anyways, they are going to Dubai strictly on a recon mission to see what happened to Walker, what happened to Conrad, because Conrad sent out his last mission that everything was a complete failure, and everything was. When you walk through Dubai, you enter through a highway. Um, a lot of going down in that section too. You're constantly descending. Anyways, you're going through a highway, and I didn't notice this the first time, but there's a lot of dead bodies in the car. Like an absurd amount of dead people that I did not notice. I don't know. Interesting. Another interesting thing is when they're showing the title credits, you're in the credits. For me, it was my Steam name, which I won't share with you, but it said special guest, fake Steam name here. And that's really, really interesting because this whole game is about you. These are your actions. Kind of. It's the game brings up a lot of interesting debatable questions over your avatar versus your actions, which is another reason why this can only be a game because Conrad is nothing without you. You make Conrad, but at the same time, Conrad is his own person. Kind of. Is he though? We want to believe that Conrad is his own person because that absolves us of sin, but we don't know. Conrad can't do anything unless you make Conrad do it. When you shoot people, Conrad doesn't do anything. He'll stand there and he'll get shot until you pull the trigger by clicking the little mouse. Oh, by the way, my PC's crap, so I'm not exactly playing with the best equipment, so I might miss a few details if they are in the graphics. It was really, really hard to read the tally marks of the death toll, for example. Um, did I mention Conrad's suicide note? I found Conrad's suicide note. Um, yeah. Also, the other intel that I found was the plane's black box, which was orange. I don't know if black boxes are supposed to be orange. I've never flown a plane. Anyways, the pilots. Oh, you come across a plane crash. FYI, if you don't remember, there's a plane crash. It's okay if you forget. It's a very forgettable moment. Um, there's a plane crash and there's a soldier in there and he's dying and you. It's a stupid reason for him to die. I killed. Okay, so what happens is he's being held hostage, right? And the refugees that you're murdering refugees. Don't know if I mentioned that. You're killing a lot of innocent people for no reason other than, well, I mean, at this point, they're shooting at you. This was their fault. Kind of. Kind of. You just, never mind. We're going to ignore whose fault it is in chapter 1. We can talk about that the rest of the entire freaking game. Um, so, oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, so there's a hostage situation. And I'm playing on easy because I can't play video games. I'm terrible at them. I'm the worst. And I can't tell if my screen is smudged or my camera is. I'm just gonna, no, didn't help anything. I'm still ugly. Um, shoot, this is already almost 10 minutes long. That's that's a third of our presentation. Okay, so this is why I don't want us to go play by play because one, I ramble, and two, there's no point. Um, we really, really want broad strokes when we tell about the whole entire story because there's a lot of really small details that do not matter. They don't. Like, I don't even know if we should mention um, the whole you kill the people with the white phosphorus? Is that what it's called? Anyways, moving on. Um, mm, mhm, mhm. Okay, so I'll just give you a really, really quick summary. You go to Dubai, there's a lot of dead bodies. You find some dead 33rd bodies, and some refugees come and you assume they killed him, and they're like, oh, hey, we speak Farsi, but we're going to speak English and yell, kill them, because that's the smartest strategy. That's how we get the jump on these people. Anyways, so they shoot you and you kill them, and you learn a lot about the mechanics. You shoot the glass out the sand of the bus. It's a bus, like they're standing underneath it. Shoot the glass out. See, that's a little detail we shouldn't mention. Um, and then you go to the place. with the hostage. You go to the place with the hostage, and the hostage guy dies, regardless of whether or not you actually save him. I saved him because I was on easy. Um, and he tells you to go to the nest, and end of chapter 1. My thoughts on this chapter: I've played it 4 times, 3, 4, something. The gameplay is still boring. It is really a point and click adventure. You just click on the people, and then they die. It was like that regardless of what difficulty I was on. It's still like that. I think that's a really, really important part, but we'll talk about that later, I guess. I think in addition to the chapter stuff, I'll have like a final thing wrapping up what I think we should talk about on the plot and what we think we should talk about on mechanics and what we think we should talk about how it's an amazing game. Um, okay, I'm gonna stop because this is already 11 minutes long and I am boring myself. I'm gonna go play chapter 2. I will see you in the future. Goodbye.